The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." The Lord replied, "If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, 'Be uprooted and planted in the sea,' and it would obey you. Who among you would say to your servant who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord. The apostles said to the Lord, "Increase our faith." Today, faith is a theme that runs through all the readings. And I think faith is very commonly misunderstood. What is faith? I think it's easy to look out and say, well, faith is to do what God's asked, to just trust Him. Faith is what the saints have when they say, okay, well, I'm just going to do a miracle. God says do it, so I'll go do it. And faith is this sense of, I got this with the Lord, and we're just going to go do it. That faith is this supernatural power to just know exactly what's going to happen and to get it done. Half of what I just said is true, and half is completely false. And it can bind us up to see faith that way, as it did for me for so many years. Faith is a virtue that operates when I don't know how it's going to go, when I don't see how this is possible, what you're asking, Lord, when I don't have what it takes to do what you're saying, do this. That's where faith begins. If I know exactly how it's going to go and I feel a deep confidence about that, I don't need the virtue of faith. The virtue of faith operates when I don't have the capacity. Today in the gospel, when the apostles are saying, "Lord, increase our faith," what's the context? This is Luke 17, verse 5, where it starts. What's Luke 17, verse 4? Jesus has just told the apostles, if your brother has sinned against you 7 times in one day, and he comes to you 7 times truly repentant and asking for forgiveness, you must forgive him 7 times. And to that, the apostles say, "Lord, increase our faith." They're saying, "Lord, I can't do what you're asking me to do." We have some of our pre-Cana couples here who are going to be married. Welcome, it's good to have you here. Marriage, you're going to have to forgive each other a lot, and you can't do it when those little hurts add up and grow day after day, year after year. You can't do it. It's impossible. You're going to fail, except through faith. So I was thinking about analogies. This is kind of a funny analogy, but it mostly holds. As with any analogy, it does fall short and it has its limitations. But faith, our baptism is like receiving a Ferrari. Faith is the keys to the car and putting it in gear. Hope is the maps and the navigation system that tells us where we're going, heaven. And love is the driving of the car there. But faith turns the car on. If I don't choose and live and move into faith, I can't be saved. I can't achieve my salvation. I can't even start moving towards heaven. That's how fundamental faith is. And so, as we look at that today, we go to St. Paul in the second reading. He's talking about this too. Stir into flame the gift of God you have received. For God did not give us a spirit of cowardice, but rather of power and love and self-control. In the faith and love that are in Christ Jesus, he's talking about this. And so faith happens when I am afraid. That's when I'm invited to either step in where I'm afraid and I'm out of my depth, but I'm following and trusting God, or to say, nope, I'll take the easier path where I can see how it's going to go. That's the moment. And it's a daily moment. The small things and the great travails, they're all part of this invitation to faith. When I don't know how it's going to go and I'm afraid, you did not receive a spirit of cowardice, but of power and of love and of self-control. That power comes when I choose to step out with the faith I have. And that connects back in with the gospel. He's talking about if you had faith the size of a mustard seed, this isn't the Lord, discouraging us and putting us down and saying, you don't have any faith. If you had faith this small, you could do all that. But what he's telling us is, you can have faith this small and I can still work with that. Have you ever seen a mustard seed and how small it is? Amazingly, if you go to the store and buy a mustard seed and look at it, in Israel, the mustard seeds are about a half or a fifth of the size even of that. You can fit 15 of them on the palm of your finger. They're tiny. And so the Lord is saying, if you have faith that big, I can work with that. And so my job, your job, is when I'm afraid and I don't know how this is going to go, muster up whatever little faith you have to step into your fear and to move forward towards God. And when I do that, my faith grows. If I sit and wait to have the faith of the saints and then I'll go out and do it, it will never happen. Oh, may the Lord bless wherever they're going. If I step out in faith, or if I refuse to step out until I have more faith, I won't grow it. We grow faith by operating and using the little mustard seed level that we have. And so, maybe one example, I love this story from my dad. I have 7 siblings. And when he was driving home in the hospital with sibling, I think number 5, this realization hit him like a ton of bricks. He was like, Lord, I can't do this. This is too many kids. I can't do this. And he said he had this crystal clear moment that just zoomed through all of his anxiety and just said, yeah, you can't. That's the point. He says, and then he went, oh, okay. Where is it in your life where you can't do what the Lord's asking? Today in the gospel, the example that is upon us is this example of forgiveness. Who in your life are you unable to forgive because of the magnitude of what they've done, or how long you've been in unforgiveness, or how many little things have piled up, like little paper cuts that are now a wound? You can't do that, except with his help you can. Choose faith, step into your fear, and ask for his help to start forgiving. Or we can look another example in the scriptures today. Matters of faith is from the first reading from the prophet Habakkuk. This whole book of Habakkuk, I love it. He spends most of the book wrestling with God. Lord, you have promised this and this and this and this. And what we're experiencing right now is the opposite. What are you doing? How are you possibly a good God when you've promised this and you're not giving anything of what you promised? That's what Habakkuk is talking about. How long, O Lord? I cry for help, but you do not listen. That is an invitation to faith. And what does it say at the end of the reading? The just one, because of his faith, will live. So forgiveness is one area where we are stretched regularly in faith. Another area is any part of your life where you're not seeing God's promises fulfilled yet, where you don't understand why he doesn't seem to be blessing you. He's saying that's a stretch of faith. Take courage, Take the little mustard seed that you have and say, I'm going to trust you and take the next step. Even if it feels like stepping towards you in the way you're asking is going to hurt me. Even if it feels like it's going to set me back in my journey, I'm going to step forward to what you're asking in faith. Dear family, when you live that way, when I live that way, our faith grows. Stir into flame the gift of God you've been given. The flame of God's love grows within us when we choose to face our fear with the little bit of faith that we can muster. I love the play on words, to muster our faith the size of a mustard seed. That's where the Lord is yearning to bless us. So today at this Mass, where do you need faith most of all in your life right now? Pre-Cana couples, do you need faith that it's even possible to love one another till death do you part and to raise kids in the faith in this crazy world? You bet. You can't do that. It's impossible. Take the next step as you're doing with faith. Not looking for the sense of confidence that I got this, but looking for the sense of I'm going to experience some poverty here and not know how it's going to go, but that's precisely what opens me up to another power, which is God's power. Set it in your hearts that faith is a journey that feels like poverty, that opens up His richness to pour through you. That's the secret and the science of the saints. They don't have it all together. They don't know what's going on. They're listening and following even when they don't understand, and that's where God works in miraculous ways. So today at this Mass, as at every Mass, we get a powerful opportunity in the Eucharist. How can I possibly look at a piece of bread and say that's Jesus? Not just some spiritual, vague presence of God, but Jesus of Nazareth is fully present in the Eucharist. Jesus with a beard, who's a man, who loves you, is present in the Eucharist. I can't know that except through faith. Do you have enough faith just to try to lean in there more today than you did yesterday? And as you go up to communion to receive the Lord of reality? I heard a saintly priest who was Mother Teresa's retreat director. I mentioned him before. He said, the Eucharist is an atomic bomb of love. He's a really intense Lebanese priest. It's an atomic bomb of love. Our faith turns the key to open up that gift. The more I approach Him with faith, the more that outpouring of His love I receive through the Eucharist. If I choose not to turn the car on, I'll still receive the Eucharist, but the grace will just flow right on by me. So today at this Mass, give Him your hearts. Give Him those areas where you need faith, where you are afraid. This week, make a resolution. I'm going to step forward into my fear. And I don't know how it's going to go, Lord, and I'm going to step forward anyway so that you can increase my faith. And as you come up to receive Him, look with the eyes of faith to see Jesus and to ask for His blessing upon you today and this week. Lord, increase our faith.